Well, hello, my YouTube friends, the 40 of you or whatever that exist. It's been a while since I've made a video. I don't want to make videos unless there's a reason to do so. So, they may be inconsistent, but hopefully they will be entertaining when they come through. This latest video is about my recent experience on Royal Caribbean's Allure of the Seas. When winter hits the central Gulf Coast of Florida, and it starts to get cold, we like to get away from the cold and go somewhere south. And I know my friends in Winnipeg and northern US are cursing me and shaking their fist at me right now because, cold for us down here is about 50 degrees or about 14 or 15 degrees Celsius. So it is cold though. Feels cold to us. So this video is not going to be a comprehensive look at all of the amenities, activities of the Allure of the Seas. There's lots of videos out there that you can search to find out more about the Oasis class ships like Symphony and some of the other ones, the brothers and the sisters. This one's just going to be more about, my feeling about being on one of these big ships. I've been on two other cruises. They were smaller Carnival ships, so it was quite a different experience. So I want to share with you some of my experiences and some tips if you're considering going on one of these big ships. So as I said, this is my first Royal Caribbean cruise that I've been on. I've been on a couple of Carnival cruises previously, short hop cruises, 4 days. They were both a lot of fun. They were on not the smallest Carnival ships, but the pretty older Carnival ships, like I think the Imagination and the Victory were the two ships that I've been on. Both the same, they're sister ships. Great, they were great fun. Had little water slides. They had some amenities, nothing too crazy. I think that the capacity of those ships are about 3,000. So not huge, but a good size. For me, it was my first time cruising, so I just wanted to get that experience. This ship, obviously, the Allure of the Seas, the Oasis class, so Oasis, Allure, Symphony. I think there's another one too. I don't really know off the top of my head. These are the big 6,500 passenger ships. They were the biggest ships at sea for quite a while. There's some other ships that are now bigger, including, I think, there's Quantum class ships now for Royal Caribbean. Again, I'm not an expert, so I may have gotten some of this wrong, but I've always wanted to be on one of these bigger ships just to experience them. They look like they have such fun things on them, like the flow riders, which are the surfing and boogie boards on the back of the ship, the rock climbing walls, the aqua theater, like all of the really great stuff, Central Park, the boardwalk. So I wanted to experience it. I was actually looking at booking a Norwegian cruise because I was going to go solo, and they've got a lot of really great solo plans and solo rooms. If you're going solo, by the way, I highly recommend you check out Norwegian. That's probably going to be one of my next cruises I'm going to go on. But then I ended up being able to go with one of my buddies, Corey. So it was like, okay, let's do a big. Like, I found a really good deal. We ended up paying, I think it was $700 each, and that was for a Central Park view room, which is pretty good. You got good natural light. You have a view. You've got a little cubby hole where you can sit. The room size was really great and very comfortable. The beds were comfortable as hell too. I really enjoyed the beds. So anyway, we ended up paying about $700 each, and that included the room, the port fees, the taxes, of course, none of the extras. We did contemplate doing the drink package with the internet service. Was going to end up being about $500, like $495. We decided against it, and actually, even though we didn't drink the last 2 days of the cruise, really, we about broke even when we bought the internet separately, and then ended up just buying our drinks as we went. So really, if you're going to have a couple of specialty coffees, if you're going to drink some bottled water, if you're going to want some soda pop every once in a while, and if you're going to have a few drinks, maybe a couple at the pool, one at dinner, a couple at night at the nightclub, definitely get the drink package. I think it's really worth it. In retrospect, I think I would have gotten it just because I didn't get any like cappuccinos or lattes or anything like that. And I definitely would have if I would have had the drink package. So again, like I said, this is not going to be a comprehensive list of the activities and all the restaurants and reviews of all that stuff, because I think you can find that elsewhere on YouTube. This is going to be kind of my experience getting on a big ship for the first time and some of the things I liked and didn't like. So overall, you know, if I had to do it again, going with Corey, he's a guy who's like 21. He was, you know, he wants to meet girls and we're just going to have fun and party a little bit. I definitely think I would have went on Carnival instead, simply because, you know, the smaller ships are cheaper, so you're going to skew younger. There's a lot less families. There's definitely a lot less old people on Carnival ships, just because they are party ships and old people don't want that. The Allure, there was definitely a glut of, like, you know, 18 to, I would say, 35-year-olds. There was definitely lacking, and those who were in that age range had young children. So it was families, a lot of old people. So, you know, we would go to the nightclub, and it was ridiculous fun watching people, but it really wasn't the group that we wanted to hang out with as much. So that was one kind of drawback going with that person. If you're going with a family, if you're going with an older person, if you're going to go to certain ports, like if the itinerary suits you, or if you're looking at really experiencing all the amenities, the specialty restaurants, I would definitely, you know, recommend doing, you know, Symphony, Allure, Oasis, one of those ships. But yeah, if you're looking to party and have a good time and do it a little bit cheaper, I would definitely consider, you know, I would definitely recommend doing Carnival ships for sure. So we did spend about $700 each, which is actually a really good deal for that ship. It was the 7-night Eastern Caribbean. We went to St. Martin, which was a lot of fun. We went to San Juan, Puerto Rico, which was beautiful. And we went to Labadee, Haiti, which, you know, I didn't mind it so much. It's the private kind of peninsula that Royal Caribbean has. You don't get much cultural influence. The shopping area, while not as bad as some people said, still, while they were fairly pushy, we just stayed in the middle and pushed right through. I know that Corey ended up buying something from there and he had a good experience. So, but you didn't really get much culturally there. You're stuck in Royal Caribbean's area, and the food was decent. The water park was fun. You could like jet ski. You could go on the huge, ridiculous zip line, which was $100, so we didn't do that. So there's enough to do. It wasn't bad per se, but when I travel, I actually want to get out and see places. Like I really enjoyed Cozumel the couple times I was there. We really liked St. Martin, walking through. You know, Puerto Rico was really great, although we were only there for 5 hours, so we didn't get to really do much. We went to the Bacardi factory, which is great. So excursions. We actually went on our own for excursions, which, you know, is a nervous time for someone like me who hasn't cruised a lot. I know experienced cruisers know what they're doing. But the thing about going on your own when it comes to excursions is the ship will leave you. If you're late, if something happens, if the catamaran breaks down, something like that happens, and you're not on a Royal Caribbean or Carnival, or if you're not on one of their excursions, they'll up anchor and leave, and you'll have to find your own way. So the reason I felt comfortable doing it is, so in Puerto Rico, we did the Bacardi factory tour, and that was really easy. That was just a walk over to the next, basically the next dock, which was where the ferry was that took us over to that part of Puerto Rico. And that was a really quick, I think it was like a 10-minute ferry ride to get over to the other side, and then you took one of these vans that took you right to the Bacardi factory, which was another, I think, 10 minutes. So 15-minute travel time. It was $2. Maybe, no, it was $2 for both of us. It was 50 cents one way each for the ferry, and it was $3 one way for both of us for the bus back and forth. So we ended up paying $8 for transportation. So cheap. The factory tour was $15, and it included a free Bacardi drink, which was really good. So that altogether costed us $38 for the tour for both of us. It was $45 per person if you got it through Royal Caribbean. So knowing how quick the tour was, I think it was 45 minutes total. The transportation was like half hour total both ways. I felt really confident that we wouldn't get stuck on the island. As a matter of fact, we went and did some shopping and we went and had a drink afterwards, and we were still on the ship with an hour to spare. So that's why we did that. Of course, anytime you decide to do an excursion on your own, definitely do your research. Go on to Cruise Critic, all those websites. You know, look at the reviews for the companies that you're booking your excursions from, because you'll really get to know whether you feel like you should be able to take the risk, if the savings and money is worth it for you. So yeah, Puerto Rico, San Juan, beautiful. If you had a chance to pop over, even maybe start your cruise from San Juan, because a lot of cruises to the Southern Caribbean originate there. I highly recommend going there. Flights are fairly cheap from Florida, and it's just a beautiful city. Really, really loved it. Old San Juan. I haven't been to the rest of San Juan, so I really shouldn't comment, but old San Juan was really beautiful. So that was Puerto Rico. I know I'm getting them kind of backwards because St. Martin was our first day. We actually did scuba in St. Martin, which was kind of nerve-wracking and anxious times, but I'm really glad we got to experience it. So we could have done it through the through Royal Caribbean for $140. And we actually located the excursion company that was doing it on behalf of Royal Caribbean, and we got it for $95. So we saved 45 bucks. Again, it was like a little bit of a walk. It was probably about a 10 or 15 minute walk from the St. Martin port to get to this excursion. But really no big deal since we were in St. Martin all day. And then what ended up happening was we did this scuba with 2 people from our ship. So one of them was actually a crew. So we knew they couldn't leave without us. So besides that, we did all of our due diligence. We did a lot of research on reviews. And then actually this company guarantees that if you miss your ship because of their fault, they will put you up in a hotel and get you to your next port of call free of charge. And also they claim that they do excursions all over the Caribbean, and I think in Europe as well. Like, this is a big network, and they claim to have never had anybody miss a ship. So felt very comfortable booking through them. So just do your due diligence, and you'll be okay. So a little bit about the feeling and vibe on the ship. I already touched a little bit on how it was less of a party vibe, more family centric, more older people. Still lots to do and see on the ship. Really, really great. The entertainment I saw in Mamma Mia was fantastic. So if you're looking for more like broadening your horizons on the ship and lots of varied things to do, definitely I would consider one of these ships. The couple things I did find that were good and bad was, even though there were 6,500 people on this ship, rarely ever felt like there was that many people on the ship. They do a really great job of spreading people out. Things are designed really well so that you never feel like you're getting so crowded or you're waiting in line for a super long time. Even a debarkation day, I had to sort something out with my bill, and I went to customer service on the ship, and I was through in like 10 minutes, even though there's a lot of people there. So they really have considered how to get a lot of people through their areas and not get congestion. So I was really impressed by that. But the negative side of that is sometimes you just feel like it's a little bit deserted. There's no intimacy. When you're on Carnival and you're on a Carnival ship for 5 days or something like that, you get to know people. You get to meet people. You make friends. You see the same characters. Like, it can be really fun and entertaining, and you can make some buddies on the ship, which is great. I felt like, even though we saw some people more than once, because I guess they like to do the same things as we did, you really didn't get that sense of camaraderie or closeness. Also the decks, the pool decks, by 11 o'clock, they were deserted. The hot tubs were closed. The pools were closed early. Might have been time of year. It wasn't cold at night, but it certainly wasn't like 85 degrees where you'd want to go for a swim at like midnight. But I felt like Carnival, like, there was parties going on the Lido deck at midnight or at 1 o'clock. There was people dancing. There was fun stuff happening. And that certainly was not the case on the Allure of the Seas. So I didn't really like that. I loved the fact that you were outdoors in a party atmosphere with pools. Like, that's really great. So if you're looking for that, I would look for, you know, maybe different options than one of these Oasis class ships. Overall though, like really, I'm not complaining. I really enjoyed my experiences. Just know what you're getting into when you're getting onto one of these ships. So quick thing about food. So I definitely would not recommend doing the Windjammer. We went into the Windjammer. That's the main buffet for the ship. We did the Windjammer when we first got on the ship just because we were hungry and we didn't really know what else to do. It wasn't too bad that first day, but it gets really busy in the Windjammer, and there's a bunch of these really kind of ovally islands, and they all have different types of food, and you never really know what's on what. Like, I saw people with nachos. I never actually saw the nachos. Then there's like a hot area, and it's just mass confusion. You don't go through a line. You're just, some people are going one direction around one of these ovals. Some are going another. People are really kind of almost pushy. Like, they'll just jump right in front of you, grab something. I didn't like it. And the food really, it was okay. Like, I don't like to complain about the food on cruise ships. I know people expect like 5-star meals on cruise ships, and I think it's ridiculous. If you want that kind of food, then get on one of these luxury cruise liners and get that and pay like $8,000 for a cruise. You know, if you're paying $700 for a 7-night cruise or 7-day cruise, come on, let's get realistic. So having said that, the food, when it was fresh and when you could get to it, was okay in the Windjammer. It was kind of bland and nothing special. But the food in other places on the ship was significantly better. So my number one advice to you is don't go to the Windjammer. Don't waste your time there. There's so many different options. The Solarium Cafe, really good. Lots of fresh salad options, and then some hot food items as well, like crepes with salmon in them, and, you know, a carvery, and like just healthier options for you, and mixed salads as well. So the Solarium, and also not super busy. It got busier as the cruise went along because I think people figured it out, because at night it's the Brazilian restaurant, so it's like an upcharge restaurant. So I don't think people realized it was free during the day very much. So that's why you could get in there. And like I said, the food, breakfast and lunch was good there. The Wipeout Cafe, surprisingly really good. That's the one right below the flow riders at the back of the ship in the sports area. We had a big Jewish convention on our ship. I think I heard something like 1,500 participants. And they actually converted the Wipeout Cafe to kosher, but they left it open for everybody, which was really great. I really appreciated that. But the food was delicious. It was hot. It was fresh. There was nachos. There was hot dogs. There was burgers, all kosher. All these really interesting salads. They had potato salad, pasta salad, and then some salads I've never heard of before that I guess are, you know, Israeli or Jewish kind of specialties. They also had like a salad with chickpeas. They had really crispy hot French fries. They had French fries, but they were also kind of battered, so they were super crispy. They had an ice cream station. We ate at the Wipeout Cafe like 3 or 4 times for lunch because it was really good. You can also go to Johnny Rockets for breakfast. Wow, I really wish we would have done this earlier. We did it the last couple of days. I think we did it on our days when we were heading out. It was not busy. We got seated immediately because, again, people think that Johnny Rockets is a upcharge restaurant, and it is for lunch and dinner. You pay like $9.95. We didn't pay anything extra for food, by the way. We were trying to save as much as we could on the cruise because everything costs extra money. And the food's good, so why pay up? I think maybe eventually I will, if I save more for a cruise and I really want to do it right. I'll get like a balcony and I'll, you know, go to some of these specialty restaurants. But anyway, I digress. Johnny Rockets for breakfast, fresh to order omelets and sandwiches and scrambles and bacon, and it was really, really good and absolutely free, no wait. I highly recommend going to breakfast at Johnny Rockets at least once, probably more. You could also go to the main dining room for free for breakfast and lunch and get like made to order food. We didn't do that just because that's not the way it worked out for us, but I've heard really good stuff. So you may want to examine doing that as well. The 2 cafes, the Promenade Cafe and the Central Park Cafe, Really good for coffee, better coffee than you'll get at like the Windjammer or some of these other places. And then also like some really tasty little selections like sandwiches and stuff like that to eat as well. Way better than the Windjammer, free of charge as well. Not a huge selection, but the stuff they had was pretty good. And then of course Sorrento's the pizza restaurant, really good pizza. Antipasto as well, like a selection of mushrooms and cheeses and focaccia sometimes. So we definitely hit that place up a few times as well. Anytime you want to walk by, just grab a slice of pizza. It's fresh and it's ready for you. So it was really good. So yeah, all in all, I was extremely impressed with the food. Taking us to our main dining room experience. I've heard that, I've heard a couple of criticisms about the main dining room on the Allure, not specifically on the Allure, but on the Oasis class ships. And I see what people are saying. Sometimes, some of the menu items can be a little bit on the plain side. I saw one where it was like, quarter chicken and like just kind of looked like what was frozen vegetables and some French fries. It just didn't look that next level main dining room experience. But I think what they're trying to do is make sure that everybody has an opportunity to eat something. And some people don't like fancy. Some people like plain meat and potatoes style stuff. I will say I was really impressed with everything I ate. There was not one thing that I ate and I went, that wasn't great. When we were going to Mamma Mia, I think it was night 2, it was very busy in the main dining room. So they were a little bit behind. We actually had to skip our dessert. And then the next day, Fortunato, who was our head waiter, and Albert, who was his, I guess, assistant waiter, they were so apologetic that we missed dessert. It wasn't their fault at all. They were busy. They've always gave us great service up to that point. It just what happened, but it was like they kicked it from high gear of service to ultra high gear of service. They were so attentive. Our stuff came out so fast. Wow, I can't say enough about the service. They were phenomenal. And it was extra level than I'm used to. I'm sure if you've dined at 5-star restaurants or higher class restaurants, you're used to your waiter like putting your napkin on your lap and taking that little brush thing and brushing the crumbs off of the tablecloth before your next course and making sure your water's always full. For me, it was just like a next level experience. I've never experienced something quite like that before. And I was thoroughly and 100% impressed. So final thoughts. Allure of the Seas was really, really great. We got a really good price on the cruise, which was, like I said, $700, including taxes and port fees, including, our internet, our excursions, our alcohol, the extra things we bought. We ended up spending about $4,000 US between the two of us for a 7-day Eastern Caribbean cruise. And that includes, driving down from Tampa to Miami and all that stuff. And that includes Corey's airfare and stuff as well from Halifax. So for us, for, a week of really great fun and interesting experiences, for me personally, I would spend $2,000 for that all day, every day. So if that's something you seem interested in, that's where you go. If you just want to party and have a good time and be drunk and play in the pool, maybe Carnival is the way to go. So I'm going to do so many more cruises. I'm so in love with cruises. So I'll post more videos. I'm not going to become a cruise channel, but just as I go along, I'm going to probably going to try NCL. I want to give them a try. I want to go back to Carnival again, maybe do one of their bigger ships. I want to try Princess, probably Celebrities. So if you have any comments or any questions, by all means, put them down. I'm very receptive to those. I'll answer them just as soon as I get them. Of course, if you want to subscribe, I'd appreciate it. I mean, I talk about living in Florida since I'm a Canadian and I'm currently in process of getting my green card. So there'll be more videos when it comes to that. I love to travel, so there'll be stuff about that. And maybe even some like car videos because I love cars as well. So you never know what you're going to get from me. Anyway, thanks for watching.